What is going on, Fourth and Inches podcast listeners? You got Stevie P today. We're going to do the DFS pod. So, I'm going to go over all your DFS lineups and hopefully we help you guys win some money. Last week, we had some pretty good calls that I was very happy with. Guys like, John Brown and, just a number of guys that ended up panning out for your fantasy football lineups. And that's always a good thing when we can help you guys win some money. So that is our goal on this podcast. And I am going to give you guys our 50-50 lineups for the week. So, 50-50 lineups this week. We will start with mine. With that, we will do basically 4 lineups I'm going to give you. 3 of them are actually FanDuel. 1 of them is DraftKings. I did 1 DraftKings lineup just because, I don't know, just looking at it, there's just so much going on this week that I decided that I just want to play. There's one real DraftKings lineup that I'm cool with playing, and I'm just going to stick with that. So actually, I will do the DK lineup first, because the pricing on DK is just really low on the Oakland Raiders. So I decided to attack Oakland Raiders this week, in basically all my 50-50 lineups. So the lineup is going to start off with Derek Carr at 5,100. He is in a smash spot this week. He's in definitely a spot that you want your quarterback to be in, a quarterback that is probably going to have to throw the ball a lot, to keep his team in the game. He looked very proficient last week, and you want that in your quarterback. So, I like Derek Carr this week a lot. Saquon Barkley I said it yesterday in the pod that I think he's just in a smash spot. I think, they are going to rectify the situation that they had last Sunday against the Cowboys where they just didn't give him enough touches. He's going to see a lot more touches this week. And at 9,200, it's probably one of the lower prices you're going to see him at, the rest of the season. Because he could easily get up to 9,200, 94, 95, 96, 9,700. You might even see him in the 10K range, relatively in short order coming through this season. So, get him while you can play him. Austin Eckler is also, I think, too low priced against a Detroit team that gave up. You saw what David Johnson did to them last week. They had trouble stopping David Johnson in the passing game. Eckler is going to be used in that capacity. He was on the field 75% of the time. I don't think he has a 39.4 point game in him again this week, but I could definitely see him in the 20s, and I love that. Yeah, so Austin Eckler definitely in a smash spot this week, guy that I'm very confident in playing. Juju Smith-Schuster is another guy, going up against Seattle. Seattle had a tough time, stopping the pass last week. They gave up 400 yards passing to me, a mediocre quarterback in Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton was another guy we told you guys to play as a cheap option, and he definitely paid off for you. So Juju is definitely in a spot that I like this week at home against Seattle, and they are going to give up some passing yards to Big Ben. So I think Juju could have a very big bounce back game, and at 7,500, it's probably going to be the lowest you're going to find him for a while. He's definitely going to get up in the 8,000s range very, very shortly here. Terrell Williams, like I said, they just have these guys way too low priced. At 4,400, to me, he's in a almost an automatic spot. Just get him in your lineups. 4,400, he is the number 1 wide receiver. He showed that, and I have no fear of starting him. Especially at that low price. Waller is another guy. I think that he is going to have a big game. He was targeted insanely, last week. I think he hit 10 targets. He just, 7 for 70, I think it was, at the end line. He's just going to be targeted. And the Kansas City Chiefs, are not a team that I would, I think of when I think of teams that are going to stop the tight end position. They just don't have the guys to stop Waller, and I think Waller is going to be heavily targeted, at 3,300. I love that. So Adrian Peterson is my next guy, 3,400. I'm probably going to have AP everywhere just because he's a free square. I mean, there on 50-50 lineups, there's always, there's a couple times a year that you're going to get free squares. This is one time, already in week 2 that you're going to get a free square. Adrian Peterson at 3,400. He's going to get the bulk of the carries. I know the Cowboys defense is good, but, at 3,400, he literally only has to get you 10 fantasy points and he pays off for you. So for me, a guy that I definitely like throwing in that lineup just so I can get some better players in. And the 49ers defense, once again, going up against Cincinnati. I know Cincinnati is at home, but the 49ers defense showed last week they can go on the road and dominate, and they dominated the Buccaneers. Jameis Winston didn't have any turnovers in this game against Carolina. I think this 49ers defense is for real. And, we're going to be talking about this 49ers defense in short order. I drafted them everywhere. I have the 49ers all over the place. So, that is my DraftKings lineup. We will do Kevin's DraftKings lineup. So, Kev's lineup is, let's see here. We got Big Ben Roethlisberger going up against the Seattle Seahawks. I kind of talked about Juju. Big Ben, should be in line for a much better game. And I'm sure he's going to want to smash whoever he plays after that terrible showing last week. Saquon, I already explained him. It's going to be big this week. Kevin thinks so too. Derrick Henry at home going against Indianapolis is in a good spot. He could definitely show out. So we will see what happens there. John Brown going against the New York Giants. We like John Brown. He looked really good last week. He had 28.3 DK points last week at 5,200. If he has another big game, he might be a start every single week. And, he is in a good spot to have a good game here against the Giants. Cooper Kupp is a guy that I was toting yesterday. I really like Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp, I think, is definitely a smash spot. I think he is going to light up New Orleans this week. At 6,000, I like it. Kev is right with me with Terrell Williams, and, he's definitely going to be a guy that a lot of people are going to own. So expect his ownership to be very high because he's only 4,400 this week. But, it's not too bad in a 50-50 to have those guys that are highly owned because, you want those points. And you can get more points, with guys that are, more expensive in your lineup with guys that are cheaper. And Terrell Williams is super underpriced right now, and that'll fix. That was the Monday night. That's just the Monday night thing. The Monday night games, kind of are screwy with the pricing on DK and FanDuel because they do the pricing before the end of the Monday night game. So, nobody knew Terrell Williams was going to be as good as he was last week. Travis Kelce at 7,300. He's the highest priced tight end, I think, by like $600. Something like that. But definitely a guy that I think he could smash against Oakland. Last year he put it to him, so this year he could do the same thing. Adrian Peterson, I think, like I said, going to be super high owned. And then the Broncos defense going against Chicago. We talked about it yesterday. Vic Fangio kind of knows what the Chicago Bears defense can do, and he might find ways to exploit it. Talk to the OC and say, hey, check it out. This is what we can do to, bypass some of these defenders and get some points up on the board. So, we'll see how that goes. So that is Kev's DK lineup. We will start with Kev's FanDuel lineup because now we're going to start doing FanDuel. So Kev's FanDuel lineup is going to be Patrick Mahomes at 9K. Patrick Mahomes is in a smash spot this week. He's definitely a guy that, I would try to get in my lineups if you can because he is just in a spot where he could definitely do some things with, the Oakland Raiders. I know the Oakland is at home, but, he's just too good. He can put up points no matter who he's playing against, and, it doesn't scare me at all. I think Mahomes could definitely be very good. Matthew Breida is another guy that, Kev has in his lineup, and I actually like that pick. I think Breida could have a very good, solid game. He's going to be the number one guy in San Fran. Definitely going to get the touches. The Cincinnati Bengals just were destroyed in the run game. Chris Carson is just a beast, and the Bengals had a tough time stopping him. So I think Breida could have a good game. Adrian Peterson just too cheap. Sammy Watkins, pair him with Mahomes, I think is a good idea. Keenan Allen is just a guy that, he is going to be super peppered with targets this week. Mike Williams is looking like he might play. So if he does play, that to me it still doesn't hurt Keenan. I think, he's still going to be super peppered with targets this week, and I like him a lot. Julian Edelman in Miami. Julian Edelman is a guy that, he's always super solid, always going to get you some points. And Miami just gave up points in droves last week. So, I think any Patriot is viable this week. Darren Waller, again, Kev has him in his FanDuel lineup. Just Darren Waller is going to eat against this Kansas City Chiefs defense, and for $5,400, I definitely like him. Ezekiel Elliott is in Kev's flex. Ezekiel Elliott going against Washington. I think they were going to feed Zeke a lot more this week than they did last, and you're going to see a whole lot of Zeke. And then Denver's defense. Kev really likes Denver's defense this week, and I agree with him. I think they could have a good game against a team that Fangio knows well. So I'm going to give you 3 lineups in a row. My first one starts off with Patrick Mahomes also. Adrian Peterson, just talked about that. Saquon Barkley, me and Kev are in lockstep with that. And then Keenan Allen I also have. Terrell Williams I also have. But then where we differ is Tyler Boyd, Mark Andrews, Eckler, and the Redskins defense. So for me, Tyler Boyd, going up against San Fran, I think one of those guys is going to have to catch the ball first in Cincinnati. And I think it's going to be Tyler getting peppered with targets. If he gets in the box, you're going to love that. Mark Andrews is in another smash spot against Arizona. Budda Baker is not going to be able to stick Andrews, and I think he could be in line for a very big game. Austin Eckler is a guy that I'm going to try to get him in everywhere, guys. I told you guys that I'm going to get him in everywhere. I just think he's in a smash spot this week, and he's going to be in all my 50-50 lineups. The Redskins defense is definitely a defense that probably gets smashed this week, but it's a rivalry game. They are at home. You never know. It could be a game where the Redskins, maybe pick up a fumble, run it back for a touchdown, get a couple of sacks. This is a huge rivalry game for the Redskins. Redskins Cowboys is a very well-known rivalry game, and you never know what's going to happen. And I like having the Redskins defense as a cheap option. If you're going to spend down. So my second FanDuel lineup is going to be Lamar Jackson going up against Arizona. That is just a super smash spot for him. He is going to be heavily used in there, and I like him a lot. Saquon Barkley, Adrian Peterson, Keenan Allen, always going to be in, or all my 50-50s, those guys are going to be in there. Austin Eckler is also on this lineup. Like I said, 50-50, these guys are locked into my 50-50 lineups. Sammy Watkins, I like Sammy this week. Talk to him. Kev had him in his lineup. I like him. Emmanuel Sanders is just a cheap option at 5,600. The Monday night game, he looked good. He caught a touchdown. I think he had 80 yards. So, I think he's just going to be used in this offense. And if he gets in the box again, you're going to be super happy with him. And then the New York Giants is my other cheap defense going against Buffalo at home. I think Buffalo is, Josh Allen definitely has the, ability to throw some picks, and he the team had 4 turnovers last week. He definitely could let the ball on the ground, and the Giants might be able to get you some points with sacks and things like that. So another cheap defense that I went after, and I am okay with. And my last lineup of the day is Derek Carr, Barkley, Peterson, Williams, Keenan Allen, Juju Smith-Schuster, Darren Waller, Alvin Kamara, and the Giants defense. Once again, the Giants defense. I really wanted to spend up for the 49ers defense, but the 49ers defense, I think it was like 3,700, 3,800 this week. I just couldn't find the space to put them into my lineups. But if you can get them into your lineups, I like 49ers this week too. Derek Carr is just, like I said, underpriced. Saquon Barkley, Adrian Peterson, Terrell Williams, all those guys like I've been talking about. Those guys are going to be in every one of my lineups. Juju Smith-Schuster, I already talked about him. I think he's in a smash spot this week. Definitely a bounce back. He's 8,100, and he is going to be in basically all of my, a lot of my tournament lineups and things like that, because I think people are a little bit scared of Juju, what they saw last week, and other people who are a little bit savvier are going to have Juju in a lot of their lineups because, they know that Big Ben smashes at home. So Darren Waller, like I said, great. Alvin Kamara just in big games always seems to step up and have really big games. Last week you saw the game he had last week against the Texans. I just think he is a superstar in this league, and he comes alive in big games, and this is a big game. I think the New Orleans Saints want to go to the Rams and show them that, hey, we can beat you at home, we can beat you at our home, doesn't matter where we are, we can beat you. And I think Alvin Kamara is going to be amped up for this game. It's going to be a fun game to watch, and I want to have pieces of this game, definitely. So Alvin Kamara is definitely a guy that I really like this week. So that is our FanDuel lineups, guys, our 50-50 lineups. Give some of them a try, check them out on the website, and you will see these same lineups up there, with a couple other things. So give them a peep and see what you fancy. Pick a lineup and throw it in there. If we win you some money, definitely hit us up and let us know that we helped you out, and how we can do better if you guys want to hear more. The more you guys listen to these DFS podcasts, the more elaborate they will be. We will start talking a lot more about, pricing and, lower owned guys, and I'll start talking about ownership percentages and things like that. But at this point, these DFS podcasts have not getting that. We only had one last week, but it really didn't get too many listens, as many listens as we thought it was going to get. So, when it starts getting a lot more listens, we will start, doing it a whole lot more. So remember to check out the website. That is fourthandinchesff.com. That's the number 4, THNINCHESFF.com for your rankings, strength of schedules. You can check those out. We have waiver wire articles. We have buy low, sell high articles, weekly matchup, wide receiver versus cornerback matchups, and tight end safety matchups that we like, streaming defense articles, just articles in general about, different players that we want to talk about, getting into your lineups and things like that. We have a blog Monday, Wednesday, Friday that goes up there. So, when you're on the John, need something to read, hop on there and read those blogs. They're all free to read. We have player profiles for over 160 players. If you are looking at a guy or maybe on the waiver wire that you're not sure of, or, whatever, you can go check out the player profile and it'll tell you what you want to know about that guy, how we feel about him. And that is about it, guys. The VIP content, you can go check that on the website. That is a subscription, part of the website. So if you're interested in that, that's where you're going to find the DFS stuff and all that other stuff. So for us here at fourthandinchesff.com, we appreciate the listen and peace out.